Is this chat fine or should I make it bigger? Also, I don't like the fact that all the nicknames are dark blue. That's very hard to read. Alright, we are live on both YouTube and Twitch. So hello everybody. Good evening. Division 2D. I'm doing LeetCode problems, not code forces ones. Qualification round for IOI, got 60 out of 100. Is that good enough? I don't know what country you are. Like, ask organizers. No, I didn't participate in code forces round. We will do some easy problems. I tried. This is top Google questions, but it has very few problems. If I just choose Google here, that should show me like hundreds of problems, but also I don't think that LeetCode marking system is accurate, because here we see 900 problems out of 1700. Like, most of problems in LeetCode theoretically are asked in Google interview, and I don't think it's accurate. Frequency. But is it frequency in Google? If we sort by frequency, maybe that's something. Though, don't expect something very frequent from LeetCode to really be asked in an interview, because interviewers are aware of online platforms and they will try to avoid those problems. But maybe this is a good problem to start with. I have a premium account, so likely you will not be able to access this. We'll start with this one and then move on. Is it a premium list? It's premium to see frequencies. And this particular problem is premium as well, but most of problems we'll do today are not, behind paywall. Go to binary search for Google questions list. I think that LeetCode has a lot of easy problems. If we don't have enough here, I didn't want to do this. If we don't find enough in LeetCode, then we'll switch to binarysearch.com. What do we have here? Design a logger system that receives a stream of messages along with their timestamps. Each unique message should only be printed almost every 10 seconds. They mean after at most every 10 seconds? No. Oh, if two same messages are nearby, then I should skip the second one. All messages will come in chronological order. Several messages may arrive at the same timestamp. Should print message. Right. Message length up to 30. That many calls. Well, I don't know what they want from me in terms of efficiency. The first idea I have is that, by the way, was that a coincidence that all nicknames were blue? No, all nicknames are blue. Strange. Turn on YouTube. Is YouTube still not live? No, it is live. All right, we can have a map or a dictionary from every message, and int denoting its timestamp. So when a message comes, I will know when for the last time it was printed. But maybe they want something better than this? Hard to say. But this is the easiest possible method. I can't imagine something easier. You can do it? I mean, solve the problem? I also believe I can do it. Oh, you mean I can use a map or what? should we do something else? I mean, we can, for 10 is a very small number. We can store everything that was there through the last 10 seconds in something like a queue, maybe. So there might be a queue containing, let's say there was some message 1, message 2, message 3, message 4, and so on, message n. And this is all within 10 seconds. When I read the next message, then I also move through, I check the first element repeatedly of a queue. I check if it's old enough. If it's older than 10 seconds, then I can pop it. And I then move on. This is first in, first out. FIFO. So I can do that, but still to efficiently say if there are, can there be multiple timestamps, multiple events at the same timestamp? Non-decreasing order, so there can be ties. If there are no ties, then this queue will contain only 10 messages, and I can iterate through it linearly, and it's fine because it's very fast. Just check last 10 events. Always remember the last 10 events. But if there can be ties, then it isn't that good. So should we just use a map? Let's try to use a map, then we'll look at the solution if they want us to do something easier. If we use this queue, then still in a set or a map, a dictionary, we can keep what is here in the queue right now, but then why would we need a queue at all if we can just store it in a map? Some improvement for space might be to forget elements that are very old. But I can do it with a map as well in some lazy way. So when I have a string message at new timestamp, I need to check if last seen of message was what, smaller than this. This plus 10 is smaller or equal than that. I think only in this case, or timestamp minus when it was last seen, it's at least 10. Then I want to display, else I don't display, and here I need to overwrite. Also, maybe in dictionary I don't have this, so I will say if last seen message is 0. This means that this element doesn't exist in the map right now. If that or this, then okay. And last seen is a map. Where here we just make it empty. Well, it's empty by default, but just for the sake of specifying it. But that's not needed. Null, true, true, false, 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 true. Worked for sample test. And right now space complexity is linear. I still keep all the elements. Wrong answer. Oh. True and then false. Right. So when twice in a row I have something with the same time, then I say true and I shouldn't. Why? Oh, not true. A timestamp. Yes, JB, you're right. Why is this problem in Premium? They need to, live in some way. They need to make money, so they put some problems behind paywall. All right, done. One lazy way to improve the space complexity is this. If size of this is at least 20, so twice too big, then I can go linearly through it and remove all unnecessary elements. So let's call it relevant. relevant last seen. And I forgot about pinging people on Discord that the stream started. To do it now. Just like, in a vector, when you keep resizing it, what we do is, if it's too big, then if it isn't enough to fit a new element, then we make it twice bigger. Here I will do the opposite. If something is twice too big, then I will shrink it. And for the same reason, in total, it's linear. Yeah, so do this. For every entry, a pair string int, let's literally call it entry, in the current map, if this timestamp isn't old enough, because those are sorted by string, so I would be able to access some particular string. So if entry second is greater than the current timestamp minus 10, then we copy this entry. Can I do insert in a map? Maybe. Last seen becomes relevant last seen. And I claim that this changes size from 20 to at most 10, because at most 10 elements will satisfy this. Time complexity, like, oh wait, true, all right. So space complexity now decreased to O of 10, O of this timestamp difference allowed, because I will have at most 20 elements at the same time. And if you used an ordered map, which is quite slow, by the way, for running time, if you used an ordered map, then previously you had time complexity O of Q, where Q is the number of queries. But if I used a map has additional logarithm of the size of this map, so Q times log of Q, because that's how many elements I can have. But this new method of mine has here log of 10 at most, even with a map. But you can use an ordered map, and then it's just constant. And even if you don't know how to use a map or an ordered map, this could be just a vector of pairs, string, comma, int. We could check all of them, basically keeping the last 10 events. We can do that to get complexity Q times 10, or Q times, let's say, D, where D stands for this difference allowed. LeetCode can take some legal action, maybe, I'm scared. Well, yeah, I'm not sure about it either, but people keep streaming this content, so it's a good question whether you can do this or not. But since forever on Twitch people show it, and LeetCode doesn't seem to care, because, well, it promotes them anyway. I don't know. If LeetCode threatens me to take legal actions and tells me later to take down the VOD, the broadcast from YouTube, then I will do it. Harsh, please don't repeat questions. Why do you typecast? Because you shouldn't use two different sizes. Did I do? Oh, this. Yeah. So this is unsigned int, and I want to make it an int. There are some cases where it's very dangerous to compare unsigned int with int, because C++ is stupid. Like, in particular, this is a bit strange, comparing size of some vector or map with something negative, because this is unsigned int, this is signed int, and now the question is which will be casted to the other type. If int, this thing, is casted, unsigned int is casted to int, then everything is fine, and this will become some non-negative value. But the other way around would be very bad, because -1 casted to a signed int, so casted to type of this size, it will become 2 to 32 minus 1, a very big number. So yeah, I just always cast like that. In particular, it's very dangerous. It's just bad to subtract 1 from size without casting, because if size is 0, then this minus 1 always becomes 2 to 32 minus 1, so like infinity. Have I tried Algo Expert yet? Yes, I tried like a year ago. I got access. Why? Does Google even ask easy questions? Sure, especially in phone stages. You can have a situation when last seen contains more than 20 elements, and all of them are relevant, because several messages can come at the same time. Good point. Very good point. Yes, I agree. This is not an improvement at all. So I messed up. So my first solution was still fine, and it was q times log. If we change map into an ordered map, then it's O of q. But actually, I made a mistake here. The complexity of that, so I tried to shrink 20 into the number of events in the last 10 seconds. But there can be like thousands of them or million of them, because there can be multiple events at the same time. All right, so don't do this. I'm removing all of that. That's very bad. Instead, we should do this. This is q times logarithm. If they have strong tests, then this solution I had from a moment ago should not pass it. But yes, LeetCode doesn't have strong tests. And also, I don't like this example test where there are no ties. Like all the timestamps are different. It doesn't really show stuff well. You might want a queue to know what to remove. Yes, but it doesn't change the complexity. Sure, I can have queue and just, other than to keep stuff in a map or a set, I can have this queue to know that I should always remove elements older than 10 seconds, but doesn't change the complexity. Sure, it changes optimistic case, but so what? Approach 1, queue plus set. Then the question is, how is this better than just set? It's often if we keep unordered structure. What? O of 1? What do they mean? Oh, you mean they mean O of 1 per query? Yeah, sure. So the previous method was linear per query? Time complexity. O of n, where n is the size of the queue. In the worst case, all the messages in the queue become obsolete. So do they go through the queue every time? Oh, I see. They mean that this is pessimistic case, but amortized is indeed O of 1, and they just don't care about it. The queue to avoid growth of the map. Well, the map can still grow to linear size. So when we invent algorithms, unless they are randomized, we care about the worst case, not the best case. Right. Bad problem, at least without some interaction with your interviewer. Our hash table could grow up to number of unique messages as part of second solution. Using a lot of memory, how to resolve this? We could have a linked list associated with map like LRU. Still, this will have O of number of elements among the last 10 seconds. Can they just say that this number of seconds is like 1000, but it's guaranteed that no two elements are at the same time? Well, maybe it would be too easy. I don't know. But the harder version of this problem is LRU. And I remember when I first tried to solve it from scratch, I struggled a lot. By a lot, I mean like half an hour. Yeah, let's move on. Was choosing stuff from there. So this was a list of top Google questions, theoretically, whatever that means. This is a list of all of them sorted by frequency. And I'm looking for something easy. Medium will still be fine. Let's see if this is an interesting problem at all. Something educational at least. But, you know, today we are solving easy problems. So it's not that I will skip something very easy because I want something more challenging. Data structure of employee information, which includes ID, importance value, and subordinate ID. So like a tree. Leader of employee 2, leader of employee 3. Or is this a chain or a tree? Their direct subordinates ID, a single one. All right. But this seems to be an array. You need to return the total importance value of this employee and all their subordinates. So we look at 11. Oh, I see. We are given for every vertex in a tree its children. And also the example they talked about here is different from this one. 1 has children 2 and 3 and has value 5. 2 has value 3, 3 has value 3. So this is a tree with 3 nodes. Looks like easy DFS problem. It is indeed. We need to just in any way, maybe not in any way, but we need to traverse the graph and understand where are children, and for a child what is its sum of vertices in a subtree. 1 has children 2 and 3, and they have some value. The example, 1 has value, maybe with a different color. 1 has value 5, 2 has value of 3, and 3 has 3. We're asked about, for vertex 5, what's the sum of values in its subtree. And for that, I need to take my own value, and I need to ask each of the children, hey, what's your sum of the values in the subtree? Because maybe 2 has additional child below, or multiple children. This directly gives us the information what we need to do. So solution for this guy is his value. How to access it? Employees of ID plus sum over children. Of ID dot importance was the value. Now we need to iterate over the children. Employees of ID dot subordinates. Direct subordinates, actually. It's funny that here they give us subordinates and they ask us for the sum of values of subordinates, but actually they mean non-direct subordinates. This should be called direct subordinates. Answer plus equal, and not the value of that guy, but also value of its children. So we recursively run get importance, which is, you can rename it to DFS kind of. Like normally we call such, Control Z doesn't work. No, it still doesn't work. Okay, it does. I was scared that I need to retype this long name. Child. So we solve problem for a child and we take that to the answer. More complicated versions of this are called tree dynamic programming. Oh, this is a sequence of pointers. Heap buffer overflow. I messed something up. Employees child. For every child, run for that. This suggests that I have an infinite loop. Just joined, will you be taking suggestion for LeetCode Google Hard? No, medium at most. The software for writing on the screen, it's called Epic Pen. Name of hardware version on chat. Well, I don't know what you ask about, but in general, this is called Dynamic Programming DP. What did I say? Dynamic Programming DP, that's very stupid. Tree Dynamic Programming. So you can Google this question, this topic, and learn more about it. What's the base case? I don't like the name of base case. So isn't it enough to say that value of something is its value plus values of children? Just if it's a leaf, it's a proper definition. I think people are too scared of base case and think that's always so. It's not that. Actually, I still don't know what's the mistake in my code. Oh, null case? Is it? But isn't it run here? Actually, let's wait. I want to run example test cases. Yeah, and I overflow there. Employee ID should be employee. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they are numbered from 1 to 3 in the among values given, but to access person X, I need to access employee's ID -1. Like that. I will talk about base case a little bit more. Thank you. 2, 5. Oh, they are not numbered from 1 to n. So this still doesn't work. Employees of ID -1 doesn't access it. They are not given in order. That's annoying. Almost always in such problems, they are numbered from 1 to n, and here apparently the numbers can be random. For example, maybe there n is 2, and we just have guy of ID 7, and second guy has ID 4 or 3, and they are connected in some way. All right, but then to efficiently access somebody, we need to, what do we need to do? We need to first create a map, I guess. What? Try custom test case and run the for loop for a fixed time? That's, I don't know what that would be for, Dave dude. That sounds like a bad idea. I don't want to make a for loop. This is recursion. Google is not a joke? What do you mean? Do you mean that Google has hard interview questions? They still have some easy ones. We can sort by ID. We can to then access every time with binary search, but then it's logarithm. Map is better. Map, unordered map, I mean, doesn't have a logarithm. So one version is something like that. If this is the first run of the function, so this is how they run it, not the helper run, we can say sort of employees, so that then every time when I try to access here employees of ID, I can binary search where ID is described and it's children. This is n log n. to sort, plus then recursion, which is in total O of n, because that's complexity of traversing a graph once, or a tree. Right? To do it without that, we need an ordered map from ID to can be a pointer or an index in this thing, but I guess this works. An ordered map, this, you have to name it, children, let's call it emp or imp. If this isn't set up yet, so again, if this is first call, that's not trivial to check, then I will go through everything. Employee size and emp of ID is this whole thing. And now I can access imp of somebody. Like that. So I would have mapping, something with ID 7, here's this person, or actually pointer to structure describing this person. This is first call. Now I would almost say this, if not empty, sorry, if imp empty, then populate it, but LeetCode runs your program for multiple test cases. So sadly I need a helper function. I need function helper function DFS or something. It can be helper get importance. Let's say this, and we just have that. And the reason I wanted it, because in the very first run I need this. Actually, imp clear, in case this is not the first run, and that's the case in LeetCode. They run multiple test cases within the same run of a program, and then return the helper function run. We can make it a little bit nicer by passing here the unordered map. I will improve that this way. That's just better style. Employees, I don't need to pass. Solving hard problem? What? Why are you torturing yourself with easy and boring implementation? What do you mean? Why torturing? Are you saying I shouldn't stream at all and I should just keep solving hard problems? Okay, so I don't think that teaching people easy stuff is torturing yourself. I strongly disagree. Right, so this was accepted, but you should avoid global arguments or variables if possible. So this actually should be created here and passed. Passed by reference. Const just means that I'm not going to modify it. Like that, and pass it recursively. This is a little bit slower by like 1%, maybe 0.1%, because you pass the reference to that every time instead of keeping global, but it's much better style because you don't keep something global that you might forget to clear. What's wrong? Line 13. This ID importance. Oh, actually this I wanted to pass it by reference. And can't I use this with const? All right. So apparently if those are pointers, then I cannot, if it's constant, I cannot modify it, I cannot even do this, which is surprising. Can we store all value, important value in vector? It isn't guaranteed that nodes are numbered from 1 to n, so you don't want, like, if you're given two nodes, let's say 3 and 1000, you don't want, especially for that, create a vector of size 1001. So you need an ordered map, or you need to sort stuff and then do binary search every time. Or have like a map of this ID where it is in a vector. But this is a very unusual problem, and normally stuff is numbered from 1 to n. Or I push back in vector. Harsh, I don't understand you. Const can be used maybe because if we access map and value is now there, then entry will be created. Yes, you're right. Okay. Indeed, this thing modifies a map if it doesn't find ID. That's clever, right? But I could do this with a const if I said that I want to. So this would be possible with a const, but it's ugly. Find it, imp find of ID, and then int answer is this importance. Right? No, this is not what I mean. It is iterator to this. So second is pointer to employee, because IT points to a pair, int comma employee points to entry in a map. Will this work even with a const? Let's try first without the const. Okay, and now with a const. All right, seems good. Well, at least it should be theoretically a little bit faster, because when I did imp of ID in this line and then later in this line, then I'm accessing something in a map twice, and twice I run searching for that unnecessarily. I would say that single find should be a little bit faster, but maybe tests are that small that something else causes the runtime to grow. I would say, yeah, it's from 56 I got 32 now. I claim that this implementation should be a little bit faster on average than the previous one without iterator, but that's like whatever. Will Google allow your solution? Ask Google. I'm showing you. So I'm quite good at solving those problems, and I'm showing you how I would solve it. Let's use a hash map. Oh, they called it emap instead of imp. That's clever. So employees map is emap. From ID to employee. Oh, actually they don't use pointers. I would say that's bad. What list of employees? Oh, I see. It's Java. So this is those are references, I believe. They don't have C++ code. DFS of query ID. DFS is their helper get importance function. Sorry, instead for all subordinates, increase by that DFS. Sure. In this problem, one employee is not reporting to multiple people directly. This just because it's a tree, right? Why this problem doesn't support C hash? I don't know. Java is more simple one? No. It's the same. Just you don't type reference to pass values by reference. Java is just different. It isn't easier. It's the same. This is the same code. Like here, I don't need to iterate over I, the index. Wait. Here I don't really use index. I can a little bit easier iterate over that. So for every employee pointer here, employees, imp of that, of its ID, point to the pointer itself. And now it's really the same. Because now this is exactly how they initialized, right? Oh yeah, this line. They iterate over employees and they put that in a map from ID to this pointer. Should a map be used instead of unordered map? Find is linear in unordered map, but logarithmic in map. You know, unordered map. So normally every day I used map, indeed, not unordered map. For some reason, interviews like unordered map because it's O of 1 on average, if there is no hash collision. But if there is very malicious test, then yes, it's linear per access, pessimistically, and that's very bad. I don't know. It seems that people don't care about it, which is strange. But you can think about hashes as a randomized algorithm. And in randomized algorithms, we care about average case indeed. How much I earn? What about you? Tell us first how much you earn. But there's a comment for that indeed, the job. All right, let's move on. Also, I don't think the link was updated for that, was it? Anyway, what else do we have? This we did. TwoSum. That's TwoSum is, if you search on YouTube for Google interview, you will find this problem TwoSum. There's 20-minute video on how they approach it. By the way, if somebody solves this problem that slow, they have no chance to get to Google nowadays. It's such an easy problem compared to what is really asked. I'm talking about this video. 6 million views. Yeah. How to work at Google. Example, coding engineering interview. 20 minutes is a lot for such an easy problem, sadly. But of course, it's an easy video to watch. We can do it, of course. Moving average from data stream. If we want something easy, then we can do this. Please take one hard suggestion. It's a nice line sweep. No, thank you. I'm doing easy problems today. Nick White aced the interview with it. Do you mean that Nick White really got asked the TwoSum problem and like in a Google interview and no harder problems? Control F to easy problems. I can do that. I got my hopes up when I watched the video. Yeah, like the video doesn't show you what is really a Google interview. Right. Here's the new problem for us to solve. Unless you want to solve TwoSum. How to practice FAQ also applies for interview prep? Yes, it does. All right, let's solve this. But it will be fairly easy. I will quite quickly go through it. TwoSum is standard problem. I agree. Code Academy to get started. It's your perspective. I don't have thoughts about. I mean, to get started with coding, there are plenty of stuff online for free. Don't pay money to learn programming. Unless for that you will get help from a real human. Like you can ask questions, then it's worth your money. TwoSum speedrun, all right. So 1 minute solution, then we move on. Did I post a link? Yes, I did. And you may not use the same element twice. That's the trick. Right. Brute force. For every x in nums, for every y in nums, if x plus y is target, then return true, or whatever. Actually, we don't return true. We instead return this pair. Sure. Is that indices? No, indices. Okay. But let's say we just return true, false. Well, that's quadratic. But when you have a slow solution, and this is n times n, two nested for loops, if you have a slow solution, it's nice to look at what is inside and try to speed this up. It's usually harder to get rid of the outside for loop. Maybe sometimes possible, maybe sometimes it's better to think about that. But most of the time you should look at inside and there, say, what are you trying to find there? And you can talk about an example, like, okay. This part tries to find such y that added with x is equal to target. For example, if x is 3 and target is 10, target, then what? We are looking for value 7. We always know what value do I want. If I make here a helper variable, target, not target, minus x, then here I'm looking for y equal to need. And this is something we can quickly check. We can quickly find in nums value equal to something. For example, we can use a map for that, or an ordered map, a dictionary. Where is let's use n. Where is this value? Nums of I is I. Right, and now I just need to say that x can be paired up with where is of need. We got this by looking at what is inside, and that's a very general method. If you have nested for loops, look at what the inside does, and then try to speed it up by using words and describing what you need and thinking if there's a technique for that. Set is better. It isn't, because we need an index. They tell us to return indices. So what I actually need to do is here iterate over I, say that I want to pair nums of I with something. So the value I need is target minus nums of I, and here I need to return, what do I need to return? A pair I, comma, where is of need, assuming that this where is exists. Right. So first of all, we do that only if where is count of need is not 0. So if this element really exists. And there's an additional condition that two values shouldn't be equal. Like I cannot take the same element twice. Like here, 3, 3, I cannot go with 0, 0. I claim that this is not an issue if it's guaranteed that the answer exists, but it's very tricky to understand. Need, okay, semicolon, sure. Expected, what, where? Will not return false, assert false. We shouldn't get to this line. It was guaranteed in the statement that the solution exists. All right, submit. Wrong answer. Oh, I did return. Oh, I see. I said some bullshit. All right. Then what I will do now is extremely dangerous. And it's good if you understand why it shouldn't work, but actually it does. And this is what I wanted to say. When I do this, so when I say that I cannot be equal to where is, that's not enough. That shouldn't be enough. Accept that? Yeah, okay, accept it. That shouldn't be enough, because even if this index is the same as where is, I should actually try to find something else. If, let's say, sum is 6, the current nums of I is 3, and I'm looking at where is of the 3, because 3 is what I need, and it gives me the same I, actually I should ask, hey, but is there any different index with the same value 3? But this works because 3 can be paired only with a different 3, and if there are multiple 3's in the sequence, let's say the sequence is 4, 10, 3, 8, 3, something like that, then this first part of my code, it keeps overwriting. So where is of 3 becomes this index, but later it becomes this index. So where is always remembers the lastmost element. So when I check the leftmost occurrence of 3, it will be tried with the rightmost occurrence of 3. So this is fine. But actually, like, if I was your interviewer and you just did this without any explanation, I would ask you why this works. Why is this good enough? And it's not easy to explain. Right. This is O of n space and time complexity. By space complexity, I mean how much extra space we create. But police behind me, is that police? Wasn't it like ambulance? And in interviews, I'm not really a fan of the problems, because I think it's very artificial, where they say that we can modify the input and then we try to get constant extra space. By messing up the input, these nums, I would say that you use linear space. And it is possible in this problem. So yeah, I'm not a fan of liking those solutions, but sure. The alternative is that we can sort nums, and then it becomes much easier to solve this. Actually, we need indices. So I'm not really sure how to... Can we return indices if we don't create any additional space? I want to say that sort nums and then use 2 pointers. Because when we look at some sequence, we try with first taking the first element with the last, we check, oh, maybe it's too big, then I need to move the last to the left, because I need some smaller values, and we keep moving. But if we want to return indices, then for every element also I want to know its initial position. Literally taking notes. You can watch later on YouTube. Sort and greedy approach. I mean, after sorting, we don't know indices. So, is there really a solution in constant extra space? Harsh, you said that you can do constant extra space. Tell us how. I can do it if we want to return Boolean value, true or false, whether this pair exists, because then we indeed can just sort values and then use 2 pointers. It will be n log n time and constant extra space, but we modify the input. But if we want to access indices, then I need to sort like pairs value comma index. Harsh, tell us. Brute force, sure, the 2 for loops. More efficient way to check if the complement exists in the array. Alright, a map. 1 pass hash table, sure, but I will not go into that. So there's nothing in constant space. Sort and 2 pointers, sir. I don't know if you're a troll or not. But I think you ignored what I said for the past 5 minutes. How to know indices of values. Yeah, and this this thing becomes easier if we only in the map keep values so far, so every element we try to pair up with something from the prefix, but whatever. I just return it if I got the answer. What do you return? Let's move on. Possibly the last problem of today. I'm not sure, we'll see. Because I got a technician coming in. Something's wrong with power outlet in my apartment. Oh, that's him. Oh, do I want to solve this or finish the stream? We got 1 hour. No, I don't have Patreon account. So I do LeetCode streams on Thursdays, in general. What is the time for me? 7 p.m. Enable hydrate, you're right. Hydrate and posture check should be there. Right. 5 to 10 minute break. But you can try to solve this problem. Alright, sound is back. I wonder if YouTube stream is split into 2 parts. I think it will be alright. So yeah, like I should have expected that 1 minute after I finished the stream, the technician finished his job. So I'm free. Let's just solve this problem, moving average from data stream. Also, I'm aware that for sure many people left the stream after I announced that I'm finishing. Well, what can you do? That's Twitch works. I think it does. Cool. I will just continue, but chat, let me know if everything is working. Given a stream of integers and a window size, calculate the moving average of 3 elements. Oh, this is a constructor and it returns null. Then next with parameter 1 has average of 1, 10, 5. All right. We will need logic like this one. If this is one of first that many elements, add to the sum. Else, get rid of one old value and add yourself to the sum. Let's talk about an example. If the sequence is A, B, C, D, E, F, and window size is 3, then when I'm looking at D, at that time I need to remove A. Remove this element from 3 steps ago. Buffering, that's bad. Seems alright for me. So the stream works now. It looks like simple DQ problem. It is indeed. We need some way to access this element from 3 steps ago. But later we will access B, then C. But I don't need to know past elements. So always let's remember last K elements. And indeed, DQ works for that, because in DQ you can add to the end and you can remove from the beginning. There is one more thing that can do it. This problem can be solved with an array. So let's try it, because I think it's more interesting. We can create an array of size exactly what's needed, size of 3. And now when ABC I read to this array, and I have the array is, let's say, ABC after I'm done with first 3 elements, then when I look at D, which is the 4th element, then it should replace A. Then the next element will replace B, and so on. So imagine that what we do is we iterate over the input, and when we have new element X, what it does, it replaces I modulo size, the remainder of division by size. This becomes a new element X given to us. And we subtract the old value. Then E will replace B, F will replace C, no, F. Then G is next, it will replace D, and so on. F, G. And we don't need a DQ. Well, it's very fast, it's just an array of size 3. Right. In a constructor, I will use a vector to nicely resize it. Here I say, let's say clear if it wasn't cleared already, but it's a constructor, so I don't need to do anything like that. Just resize with this size. What do I do here? I need to say array of I modulo size is value. Okay, apparently I need current I equal to initially 0. I could also put here I equal to 0. That works in C++. So replace like this, and I need a sum. I don't know if int is enough. Let's keep this sum as a double. So initially sum is 0. I need to say sum plus equal value, but minus the old value. initially this is filled with zeros. By default, vector is filled with zeros. So among the first three elements, ABC, I'm just replacing zeros. So it's like I have a value 5 and I subtract 0, that's just adding 5. It's like this. I don't need to cast to double if sum is already double. And what else is here? I believe that first average will be messed up. Of course, during an interview, it's nice to analyze it without running the code, but let's be lazy. Reference to overloaded function. What is overloaded function? Well, size doesn't exist. Array.size. Array.size is equal to this size, right? Actually, this doesn't work, so I messed up. Link works or doesn't work? It should work. I don't know why it wasn't triggered. Maybe the previous person used it in the past 15 seconds. All right, I actually thought that the first two values will be bad, but then everything after that will be good. But I outputted 6.3s. Let's think. 10, 3, 5. The sum of that is 18 divided by 3, that's 6. I got a little bit too much. It seems that I didn't replace a 1. Oh, I'm not okay. I'm not replacing the value. Is equal to, and also I'm not using I. Okay, that's a lot of mistakes. So for convenience, no, that's not necessary. For convenience, let's say that that we have variable size. How to access it? I think like that. So we overwrite, and now we will be able to access it. It will make code a little bit shorter. All right, now here I modulo size, and I modulo size, I need to overwrite this as the value. And that's not everything, because I cannot stay forever as 0. After that, let's increase I by 1. I is first 0, and I'm replacing the 0th element, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I got the last elements correct. The first elements are not correct because I always divide by size. Actually, this I can just write easier as size. But it isn't correct to say that so here I have array 1, 10, 3, 5. It's not that I should take 1 divided by 3 for the average of first 3 elements. No, when I look at 1, when I'm giving only 1, it's average of just 1 itself. When I look at 10, 11 needs to be divided by 2. Only starting from the third value, I equal to 2, I take full 3 last elements. Then again, last 3 elements. So this actually should be minimum of size and I. Like I first increased I by 1, so for I equal to 0, this element, because this is the whole array, 3 is just a constructor, the size. Okay, this is the array. For 1, I is equal to 0, then it gets increased to 1, and I return sum divided by 1. So 1 divided by 1. This should work. I'm a little embarrassed how much I messed up this code first. Right? Now this works. And also, I can be taken modulo size. So instead of really remembering that the current I is 1257, maybe it's enough to say that I is 0, 1, or 2, like if size is 3. So just which index in this array of size 3 we are looking at right now. But then you would need to remember if this is the first run for the array or then something later to be able to use this. So it's much nicer to just with I count how many elements were given so far. Is this literal a pointer in C++? Yes, this is pointer to myself. right. And that's it about moving average. And I guess now we can finish the stream. I feel a bit bad about this thing with splitting the stream into two parts, but I just wanted to finish this problem because I said that, okay, let's do it. Soraf, you're giving something very complicated. I will ask my friends around what they use, but I'm very unhappy about this 12.3 versus 123 indeed. I will stop using the white thing. So actually, I usually don't use minus white, minus W I mean. I just literally do like diff file1, file2, and if it doesn't work because of white spaces, I fix the program so the white spaces would fit exactly. Yeah, sometimes I do this. I also remember that I used minus B. I don't know what it does. I don't remember at this point, but maybe it does something reasonable. Diff minus B. That will not work. B flag. Oh, ignore changes. Minus lowercase b seems to be this. Won't minus lowercase b work? I think I use one of those. Where did I use minus w, by the way? Ignore blank lines. Changes in the amount of white space. It seems that we should do this, minus lowercase b. IQ test? IQ tests are stupid. I don't remember how much I got. I'm good at puzzles. Minus b doesn't work, why? Here, this is a video of mine. But instead it's better to just add minus w, what means don't check white spaces. Okay, right. I'm going to redo, by the way, this video because of echo. This is one of my, well, viewed a lot videos. It has a lot of views. And I don't like the fact that there is echo in this whole video. So I will redo it and then I will fix this. I will read more about it later. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to rate Steven if he's still streaming. Oh, he doesn't. He's not. I got notification on my email that he started to stream. Oh, so he just went for hour 30 minutes and I guess he has just finished. Oh, last live 9 minutes ago. That's so unlucky. Right. But Steven is working on some kind of puzzle related program, I think. Oh no, he just solved code forces problems. Yeah, anyway, Linux better than Windows for CP. Yeah, it's not that you should switch just for competitive programming. No, not worth it. But in general, for programming, I think that Linux is better. And for the second time today, thank you all for watching. Sorry about this break in the middle and about it being longer than I expected. Thank you, Soraf, for finding a big issue with the minus lowercase w. It's indeed bad, and we should use something else. I thought that bid works better, but I will read about it. See you on Saturday when I will solve code forces problems. I didn't decide yet, but usually I solve code forces problems on Saturdays. Bye bye. And tomorrow Petrozavos camp starts. I will record my screencast. I will not participate every day, but for example, tomorrow I'm participating. I will record the 5-hour contest and put on YouTube. So subscribe to this YouTube channel with broadcast. Check out the Discord, calendar, all the good stuff. Bye bye.